the sun goes down, that's right. It's time for Sports Hour.
The quarterback that beat the Kansas City. Oh, no, it's actually Sara.
The flip was switched and the lights came on.
Lights were on.
Hey, Sara, go long.
Wait, Trevor. I play football. Go first!
Guys, I just want to talk about golf this year. That's all I want.
Guys, I just want the Sabres to be good this year.
Good evening, everyone. It's that time of the week, 9 o'clock p.m., live right here from Hendricks Hall. All fans of WNYF TV, welcome to another episode of Sports Hour. I'm your host, Trevor Hauer. We got our new anchor here to cover some AFC games. Our boy Brock, how's it going?
I'm fine. A little shaky because I had like maybe 3 cups of coffee, but I'm doing fine right now.
You know what? That's the only thing that's kind of keeping me awake right now is the Red Bull, coffee, whatever I'm drinking in my body right now. Because getting up at 8 o'clock every day to go to class is not the best thing in the world. But with that said, let's get into some of these AFC games right here. And respect the drip right now because we're getting into this first game here. How about this upset of the century? I don't care if they lose every game for the rest of the season. Colts taking down the Kansas City Chiefs 20-17. Matt Ryan leading down the field in the 2-minute drill, throwing to the rookie Jelani Woods for not 1, but 2 touchdowns for the rookie tight end. 20-17. Patrick Mahomes threw 14, 15 incomplete passes. He looked human. What did you? I mean, obviously you can tell how I'm feeling about the game, but what were your thoughts about it?
I'm just honestly surprised that someone can just defeat Patrick Mahomes like that. Like, it was not even, well, it was close, actually, but, like, just 21-17 is just devastating, in my opinion.
I mean, they had a couple special teams blunders, I want to say, when they had, a muff punt off of the Colts' first 3 and out of the game. They muff a punt at the 4-yard line. They score on that drive. They have their backup kicker in because their starting kicker is dealing with an ankle injury right now, and they missed a 34-yard field goal and an extra point. The Colts took every single opportunity to win this game, and they won it. The Chris Jones penalty, he was the Colts MVP of the day, other than Jelani Woods and Matt Ryan, of course, who sacked Matt Ryan on a 3rd and 15 with less than 4 minutes to go, and he gets right in his face and starts taunting. So, Chris Jones, you're the MVP. And like I said before, they really just took advantage of every opportunity that they handed them, and the Colts didn't look back. And you got to think Patrick Mahomes throwing his first interception of the season to Rodney McLeod, the guy who the Colts traded Rock Ya-Sin from the Raiders to, or in that trade, that exchange, they traded Rock Ya-Sin for Yannick Ngakoue, and I think it was Rodney McLeod, and he got the game-winning interception. So, off of the tip drill from Stephon Gilmore, so the new acquisitions are making moves in crunch time. That's obviously something that Colts fans want to see, like me.
Exactly. It's an exciting time to be a Colts fan, as I can see from your drippy outfit. And it's but I want to go back to that Patrick Mahomes interception because, like, I remember watching it, and I had a big bowl of popcorn, and that interception happened, and all my popcorn just flew all over the place. It was just.
No, I was jumping up and down
Yeah.
watching that thing. I mean, as you can imagine, because they're at the 50-yard line, they got 2 timeouts left, about 8 seconds on the clock. If they complete 1 pass in field goal range, they can tie the game and force overtime. That tip drill, that interception was huge. If Sarah's watching back there, the Bills needed 13 seconds. It took the Colts had 28 seconds, and they got to stop. So quick little shot at Sara right there. She's probably yelling in the headset right now. I just don't hear it. But the Colts upset of the century, 20-17, 1-1-1. That record is fun, don't you think? 1-1-1, is that fun?
Yes, exactly.
Good stuff. They're hosting Tennessee next week in what seems to be probably the most hyped up game of the season. We're already in week 4, at least for the Colts standpoint, giving Kansas City their first loss of the season. This is Colts football, though. You get shut out by Jacksonville, and then you beat one of the best teams in football the week after. That's the epitome of watching this team. And they're going to be the reason why I turn gray at 42, because I suffer from watching these guys every single week. But that's enough about that. Just respect the drip, though. We got the Pittsburgh and Cleveland. How about Jacoby Brissett against the Pittsburgh Steelers? 29-17 was the score of this game. Granted, the last score was on a lateral fumble in the end zone, but Cleveland Browns are 2-1 on the season.
Yeah, the Browns are just doing great at this moment. I didn't specifically watch the game, but I absolutely heard how just they were destroying each and every one of them. But Pittsburgh, oh my days, I never had trust in them, but yeah, it's just nonsense in their defense.
They took a gamble, honestly, taking Mitchell Trubisky to be their starting quarterback, and they have Kenny Pickett on the bench, the rookie that they drafted from the University of Pittsburgh, ironically. He's not getting any playing time. If I'm Kenny Pickett, I'm upset, because Mitchell Trubisky, we knew from the start, while he did win the Nickelodeon Most Valuable Player Award in the playoffs against the Saints that one year, obviously he's not a starting quarterback in this league. I knew it from the start when there were rumors that the Colts can go after him. I was like, absolutely not. You see what he is. He is what he is. Put Kenny Pickett in. What do you have to lose? Mike Tomlin's job, maybe? But I think, honestly, the Browns could just be this good team without their starting quarterback in Deshaun Watson, who's going to be coming back week 13 because they have a bye week, week 12, ironically against the Houston Texans, so that should be a good game. But the Browns, after that, they should be 3-0. I'm going to be completely honest. If they didn't blow that game against the Jets, 13-point lead with less than 2 minutes to go, we would have been looking at a 3-0 Browns team for the first time since 1993, which is absolutely crazy. But 2-1 on the year. Browns, good stuff from them. How about the Raiders and the Titans? Who would have picked the Raiders to be struggling this much to start the season? They get Devontae Adams at the free agency deadline period. They have more weapons for Derek Carr. They have a new head coach. They are stacking up on defense with Chandler Jones, and they're 0-3. They lost to I'm going to say, really struggling Tennessee Titans team here. A team that came off of a 41-7 blowout against the Bills last week, coming into a game against a Raiders team that we didn't really know was either good or bad or in between. And now the Raiders are 0-3. They lost that game 24-22 to the struggling Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, it's Josh McJudas, in my opinion. Just he's the last 12 games, it was just 1-10. It was just...
You don't got to tell me twice about the whole Judas stuff. Look at what I'm wearing here. So he's the guy that backed out of the Indy job at the last second after he got every one of those assistant coaches hired. I have nothing to say but ha 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 to Josh McDaniels. I mean, what else is there to say? No. Revenge is probably the sweetest candy out there. Just saying. Hopefully they can turn it around for the Raider Nation out there. They're very passionate. Yeah. They haven't had a strong team in a couple decades, or an extremely strong team. But Derek Carr is a good quarterback. Devontae Adams is great. And I think I don't even know what to think about them right now. Tennessee, I don't even know if they're a good team. Week 3 is a weird point in the season where you really don't know who's good and who's bad because you got 14 games to go. So moving on with that said, how about the Baltimore Ravens and the New England Patriots, or as I like to say, the Baltimore Wavens with 2 W's, Baltimore Wavens. Congrats on, you told me to put this in the script here. Who are you taking a shot at when you say congratulations to your only win of the season?
Well, I have a friend who's, I don't know if he's watching this or not, but he's from Baltimore, and I want to give him a shout out. Brian, I hope he's watching. He's an ultimate Baltimore Raven fan, but he jumped on the Bills bandwagon. And I particularly remember, which we're gonna get to in a sec, about the Bills losing. He was just posting all over his story, just yeah, imagine being a Bills fan. Imagine being a Bills fan, and I was just yeah, okay, well, how about your Ravens? And I just totally forgot they won. And, well, I just want to let you know, Brian, if you're watching this, congrats on the only win you're going to have this season. savor it until you have another one.
And he took Mac Jones out in the process. He got a severe ankle sprain, so that's bad things for the Patriot fans because they have Brian Hoyer at their disposal now. At his disposal now. I didn't even know that they were still. Brian Hoyer was still in the league. He's got to be in his 40s now. They're not going to win a game with Brian Hoyer. That's going to be. They got to find a quarterback. I've been seeing stuff about Cam Newton coming back to the Patriots. He's going to give you the same result. I would just say ride it out with Brian Hoyer and get a top draft pick. Because if he's out 8 weeks, you're not making the playoffs. Just tank at that point. Your season is essentially over. But I mean, after that we have I cannot believe this game even happened. Jaguars, Chargers. We're dealing with Justin Herbert, who had a rib cartilage injury in Thursday Night Football, aka the WWE game, where the Chiefs player picked up the Chargers player and did a suplex on him. We're talking about that game. He suffered an injury in that one, and he was probably about 50% going into this one, and they lost 38-10 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I just have to ask the question, are the Jags for real for once? Is their offense and their quarterback play legit?
Well, if they keep on the momentum, then, I mean, for sure. But, I'm still on the majority saying this is probably just going to be, a couple of weeks and just, they'll go back to the usual. And, well, I think, ever since the Super Bowl, I'm thinking about the Rams. This is the Chargers.
Yeah, they got 2 teams in LA now. Totally not confusing anybody.
Yeah, well, my bad. But I just give it a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that.
I think just wait till everybody gets healthy. Keenan Allen's hurt. Khalil Mack went down with an injury. Justin Herbert's obviously hurt. But that's just rough right there. And I just want to say to everybody out there, Colts lose to this Jaguars team 24-0. And all it is all the Colts are they're so bad, they're so poverty, and it's hilarious. But then when the Chargers lose, it's, no, don't worry, they'll be fine. Where does that come from? Okay, we see where your favoritism lies. You guys are all a bunch of either Charger fans or you're Colts haters or both or whatever it is. I don't know what that is. I'm going to say right now, Jacksonville is going to be competitive in this AFC South for the whole season. Sure. Trevor Lawrence, if he keeps playing this way, Christian Kirk has 4 touchdowns in 3 games. Everyone was saying he was overrated going into this free agency period. They have Marvin Jones, who's good. They have a good running game with James Robinson. I think they're going to be competitive until the end of the season. If that's wrong, then I'll look like an idiot here, but I don't think it's going to be wrong. The next game, Houston and Chicago. The Bears win again, led by head coach Matt Eberflus, 23-20. Houston Texans are not looking like a very good team. They're at the bottom of probably the worst division in football in the AFC South at an 0-2-1 record.
Yeah, it's just devastating seeing a once okay team just go down to I don't know, just bottom of the leaderboard. And the Bears. I got some respect for the Bears, but the Titans, I used to really mess with them. But now they're just bottom of the leaderboard, as I said. So
I think with that said, we got to get into this Buffalo-Miami game really quick.
Oh, no.
102-degree weather, that's always not really ideal to do anything. When it's 102, I'm either in the pool or inside in the central air conditioning. That is a ridiculous temperature to play on a turf field in southern Florida with half of the stadium covered with that roof. If you look at the way that building is constructed, half of it's pretty exposed to the sun at 1 o'clock and half of it's right in the shade. So the Bills obviously were not prepared for the weather in this game because they had Stephon Diggs on the sideline with heat stroke symptoms. I believe Dawson Knox as well. And Isaiah McKenzie went down at literally when the clock hit 0. But the Miami Dolphins, I think, were just more prepared in this one than the Buffalo Bills were. They were prepared for the weather. They didn't have their quarterback throw the ball 63 times like they did with the Bills. If you're throwing the ball 63 times, chances are your running game is not good and you're over-relying on your quarterback to be Superman. Throwing the ball over 50 times is a recipe for disaster. But when you're getting the 61, 62, 63, that's, self-destruct for the Bills right there. That's what I blame the team on. You couldn't get the running game going. You couldn't beat the weather. And the Dolphins, Josh Allen one bouncing it into the end zone on that 4th and goal was not ideal for the Bills.
Yeah, for those who don't know, I'm from Orchard Park, and so I'm like a massive Bills fan of myself. But like I'm telling you right now, like the entire game, it was really exciting. I like them actually trying to squish the fish as usual, but like the final couple seconds, I'm just like the most mad at it because like we actually almost had a chance. It was like 19 to what was it?
21-19, yeah.
Yeah, it was like we had a chance until like then like we were like 3 seconds left and like we were like rushing back to the field goal.
And McKenzie didn't run out of bounds when he caught that ball. If he caught the ball out of bounds, they would have had 4 seconds to work with to either kick a super long field goal or heave it to the end zone on a Hail Mary. But what are you going to do? They got next week against Baltimore, so your buddy's 2 favorite teams are clashing, I guess.
Exactly.
With that said, we're going to cover the NFC in about 2 minutes with Sara when we return. Don't go away.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. Post office, all you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. Selective Service, it takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down. Post office
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service. We've been down there. Post office. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. Selective Service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you've got to register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down. Post office
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Happy to have Sara join us for our NFC segment. So you missed out on the Bills game, which for all good reasons, that you didn't have to cover it.
That's
so
true.
we did that for your sake.
I purposely planned this episode so I could maybe avoid talking about it. But also, before we get into this,
If you caught that ball with less than 10 seconds to go, you would have ran out of bounds.
Okay, please stop. I heard you in there. I know you said she's probably yelling in there. Yes, I was. I'm like, you don't bring up 13 seconds. How dare you?
Hey, this team had 28 seconds and they got an interception
Guess
in midfield.
what? You're the Colts. You're still terrible. You just lucked out.
1-1-1 is fun, Sara. Come on, let's go.
I mean,
If we win,
hey,
we are
all I'm
above
saying
500.
Is don't deal with it if you can't take it back.
You know what? 2006 Super Bowl champions, Sara.
Okay.
Yes.
You know what?
2009
How about,
Super Bowl appearance.
2023 Super Bowl champions.
We'll see. We'll see.
know.
We'll see. But I think before we get into some of these NFC games, we have to go to the Battle of the Mid or Battle of Midway Island. This game was horrible. Sunday Night Football. Russell Wilson and Broncos Country, let's ride, taking on the San Francisco 49ers. 11-10 was the score of this game. The Denver Broncos won this game 11-10. 21 combined points. Some teams scored 21 points in a quarter. Some teams scored 21 points in a half. 11-10 was the final score. Jimmy Garoppolo stepping in the back of the end zone for a safety.
Yeah.
Dan Orlovsky was happy about it. That's about it. Like, if they didn't step out of bounds, I think they would have won the game.
Probably. I mean, like, look at that score. I mean, there was I don't even know what to say about it. It's like.
Is that a scoregami? 11-10? Has that ever happened in NFL history before? I'm genuinely curious about that.
I have to think that they would have
Nobody's
said
ever
that.
won 11-10 before.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe. I feel like that would have been one of the headlines, though. Because
You
usually
folks
when
at
it
home.
scores, they say, like, oh, this is the first time this score has happened,
Yeah.
you know? So maybe
Folks
it
at
has.
home, help us out, you know? Tell us, drop it in the comment section below.
I'll look it up in the break, and then I'll tell you to say it after.
Good. Okay. Green Bay and Tampa Bay. The Battle of the Bays, apparently.
of the Bays.
We got human Tom Brady. Hate to see it. Tom Brady's starting to regress a little bit. And Tampa Bay fans will tell you, we were missing Godwin. We were missing Mike Evans. Well, he shouldn't have gotten into a fight with Lattimore, and you maybe would have had him. But they lost this game 14-12 to the obviously better team in the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the Bucs, like, obviously, like you said, Tom Brady is finally starting to show his...
He got sacked.
Like, he's getting old, and he's starting to show that he's maybe, you know, losing your touches. All people do when they get older. They lose I can't say athleticism a little bit.
45 years old, too.
Yeah,
it's
still
about time he starts
incredible,
showing
but-
his age. And he got sacked, like, what, 3 or 4 times? He was going back there going, whoa.
Yeah.
Getting sacked all those times.
Right.
Like,
and
Tom
just
Brady.
the fact that he was only able to get 1 touchdown a game, that's usually unheard of for Tom Brady.
He scored the touchdown to make it a 2-point game, and he missed the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
When has that ever happened with Tom Brady?
Not often, that's for sure.
But again,
you know,
pretty uneventful game, honestly.
exactly. Very low scoring again. I'm just happy that Aaron Rodgers beat Tom Brady. That just makes me happy because I'm definitely more of an Aaron Rodgers fan than Tom Brady.
For sure.
But yeah,
they're both old and like combined their age are like 215. But I like Aaron Rodgers better.
I
just
agree.
saying.
I mean, it was like the almost rematch from the match of golf, but like on different teams this time.
A little NFC Championship revenge for the Green Bay Packers too.
Yeah, a little
the
bit.
team that lost to the Buccaneers due to the guys in the striped jerseys. But you know what? That game already happened, and that's well in the past. You got the Detroit Lions and the Minnesota Vikings. Lions up 24-14 in this game, and I've been pulling for the Lions so much over the years because they're just. If you guys can be new to the NFL and you'll know the Lions are a laughing stock. But they had a 24-14 lead in the third quarter. And they blew it to the Vikings, and the Vikings won 28-24.
Yeah, and like even looking at like the numbers, it's like it doesn't seem like they would let them come back, and then they did.
I mean, St. Brown played well.
Yeah.
Jared Goff played well for the most part.
Right.
Sort of in the fourth quarter, he was throwing some bad throws, but
Then
you know
Kirk
what?
Cousins took it back, I guess.
Good for the Minnesota Vikings because
Right.
they're also a tortured team and a tortured franchise in their own right too. They've been to the Super Bowl a couple times. They didn't get over that hump, and also good for Kirk Cousins. A lot of people who were writing him off before the season started.
Yeah.
And obviously, Justin Jefferson, who thank God I wasn't facing against in fantasy this week because I mean I lost by 2 points. That was because of the muff punt by the Kansas City player.
Yeah.
But I would
you
have
can't complain
gotten
about that one.
No, I can't. But I would have gotten destroyed by 21 points if I was facing against Justin Jefferson. So
yeah. I know.
Thanks for that, Minnesota.
I played my dad in fantasy this week, and I haven't looked at it because I just know what it's going to be because he has Josh Allen, and even though they lost, like
He
he's
still
still
took 400
yards. So, it's fine. You probably won, Dad. I'm not looking.
And
but
who's
you
your
probably
quarterback?
won. My quarterback, I have Matt Stafford. So
Decent.
but like not
yeah.
compared to Josh Allen. And my backup is Daniel Jones. So
Oh yeah, well, there's a reason why he's your backup.
yeah, yeah.
Cincinnati and New York, the New York Jets. Jets. Lose. And the Bengals get back on the winning ways again. They get their first win of the season, 27-12. I think that's the spark that Joey Burrow needed to revenge the season.
Right. And it's definitely so wild because if we're being honest, like, should the Bengals have really been in the Super Bowl? Like,
Debatable.
They
had a good
debate.
kicker. Okay.
Yeah, they did. But like we're seeing like their almost true colors a little bit, but they are starting to come back. They're making a comeback. They are a good team. They just aren't what you would think would be in the Super Bowl last season. But then again, the Rams also are doing the Super Bowl winners themselves are kind of.
I mean, like the little hangover effect that's going on right now, where the teams are kind of starting to find their way back. I mean, the Rams are 2-1, but the Bengals are 1-2. The games the Rams have won have not been blowouts by any stretch of the imagination. I think they've been within 4 to 10 points or something like that.
Right.
Well, obviously, get into that game in a little bit. We have the Philadelphia Eagles. We have the Carson Wentz Bowl here. Eagles and Commanders. I almost called them the Washington football team, which is honestly better than the name they're running with right now. That sounds like a flag football team name. All I got to say about this game was, at one point it was 24-2.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, this is the game that CW would throw. And all I got to say about this game is Carson Wentz looking like the true quarterback that he is. Everybody telling me last week that I was supposed to apologize to him because he was like third in the league in yards. I was like, you see the teams he was facing against? Like,
yeah.
Okay. But he's showing his true colors now. And Jalen Hurts, not in my primary fantasy league, but my other one, he's my starting quarterback, and he got me like 30 points. So thank you, Jalen Hurts. You're such a good quarterback.
Yeah.
You're not the fraud in the red and white with number 11, that other guy that throws these passes. You're not that guy. So good on you. And the Eagles are a dangerous team. It's them and Miami. They're the only two undefeated teams
left.
Yeah. Week 3 is over, and there's only 2 undefeated teams left.
That's pretty wild. And it really stings that it's not the Bills. That should be the Bills, but it's fine. Yeah, but no, like, that's unheard of. I feel like you usually have, maybe, like, at least 4 or 5, maybe like 6 teams are undefeated at this point, but third week, you went really down to 2. And, like, I can't imagine that the Dolphins are going to win all the rest. Like, I can't imagine they're going to stay undefeated. No,
they're not the 72 Dolphins. There's no way they go undefeated, but
no. So
they're definitely a good competition in that division, and Philadelphia is going to take this division by the horns and run with it because they got the Cowboys. Given Cooper Rush's success so far, I don't know if they can do this when Dak comes back because we don't know if he's going to be 100%. Washington, I have no faith in them right now. And the Giants, they had a great 2 games to start the season. And Cooper Rush exposed them last night, and we'll get into that too. But how about this one? New Orleans and Carolina, that rivalry going on right now. It seems like New Orleans can't ever beat them anymore. The Carolina Panthers took this one. Jameis Winston, I don't think he's their longtime guy. I don't know. Especially those 2 interceptions and stuff, it just wasn't good. I mean, do you remember when the Saints used to be good? Yeah. It was fun. It wasn't that long ago, honestly. Drew Brees, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, Marcus Colston. I remember all those guys. But, I mean, for all the wrong reasons. But because they beat us in the Super Bowl in 2009. But you know what? I think the Panthers, Christian McCaffrey's hurt again, which is no surprise. But they're an okay team. They're like the Titans, like the Cowboys, like the Colts. I don't know how I feel about them. Right. Week 3, it's just I have no clue if they're good, bad, playoff pushers or pretenders. I have no idea what to think about the Carolina Panthers right now. Yeah, it's pretty early, and they have Baker, which we all know his ups and downs in the league, but he's still, despite that, he's still an experienced quarterback. He's still a vet. So we'll have to see what they're like going forward. There's a lot of teams that are like that, like you said, that are maybe surprised us this week, but we're gonna see how long it lasts. Yeah, like the Rams getting into this next game, only being held to 20 points against the Cardinals, and the Cardinals defense is not that good. But the Rams will thank the Cardinals for keeping their stadium clean. They go in there and cleanly beat them. Yeah. Oh, correct me, 20-12 was the score of that game, and Matt Stafford, I don't know if he won that fantasy game. Looking at his stats right now, I know he got the win as a starting quarterback, but that's all he cares about. He doesn't care about anybody's fantasy team. I don't think any NFL starting quarterback really cares about one person's fantasy team. As you shouldn't, because and I always say this, as much as fantasy is fun and all that, and it's great. I love the times when I can beat my dad. It hasn't happened a lot lately because he gets the first pick of the draft sometimes, and I get the 9th. Rigged. It's not rigged. It's just what happened this year. But anyway. Because I got Josh last year. NHL draft lottery type of thing over here, where it's clearly not rigged, everybody. It's really not. Sorry, Dad. I'm not putting you in bad light. But anyway, there's your conspiracy. Dude, it's just at the end of the day, you always want I'm always gonna want the Bills to succeed before me winning fantasy. Yeah. That's how it is. As long as you don't put too much money in your league. Yeah. Ours is a free league, so I don't have to worry about it. But maybe you or Topher. I know Topher does a lot. Topher's, he's not here, so I can talk smack. He's not good at gambling or fantasy football. Just saying. Yeah, 20-12. Again, not really eventful. You had your eventful games in week 3. You had your not so eventful games, and those came aplenty with the Giants and the Rams. And I'm thinking of what's the other one? Oh, the Broncos, of course, the Battle of Midway Island. But you have this next game, Atlanta-Seattle. Atlanta held on to a lead for once in their team's existence.
Yeah.
27-23, the Seahawks have problems. Yeah. So does Atlanta, but Marcus Mariota got his first win as a Falcons starting quarterback. And good for him, too, because he was sent out there to get absolutely drilled every single week in Tennessee.
Yeah.
They move him, and he seems to be a solid starting quarterback. They did draft the kid out of Cincinnati, Desmond Ridder. He's going to sit the bench, but as of right now, I think he's a solid starting quarterback.
Yeah, he's holding his ground for sure, and this game kind of proved it. Like, the Falcons are, obviously we've been talking about them not being great the last 2 weeks, but this
haven't been the same since 28-3.
Right, exactly. But then again, the Seahawks aren't either. Like, they're another team that we are used to kind of being decent until like the last 5 years or so.
Yeah, it used to be Seahawks country, let's ride. Now it's Broncos country, let's ride.
Right.
Geno Smith is not a good quarterback, ladies and gentlemen, but he has produced more passing yards than Russell Wilson has this year. Mm-hmm. Fun fact, while Russell Wilson has 2 wins and the Seahawks have 1, he's thrown for more passing yards.
Yeah.
30 seconds to go. Dallas and New York. Daniel Jones is the most human quarterback I've ever seen in my entire life. And Cooper Rush is the truth down in Dallas.
Yeah.
Just saying. Dak Prescott, who? Cooper is all the rush, no pun intended, in Dallas.
No pun intended.
But I think with that said, there's week 3, though. Coming up next, we have Ethan to talk Phoenix Suns basketball. Can they turn it around? Find out, and you stay tuned.
We're ready for you.
Pneumococcal. If you're 65 or older, like me, you're at greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia, even if you're healthy. People 65 plus are over 10 times more likely to land in the hospital for pneumococcal pneumonia than those 18 to 49. And it's important we all do what we can to stay healthy. So, talk to your doctor or pharmacist about vaccination.
Hope. Where are you hiding? I search for you in the seconds, the minutes of each and every day. Hear me as I call out to you. Take my hand. Lift me up as I lift up others. Welcome me home, father, mother, sister, brother, son, daughter. Hear us now. Alone we stood, divided we fell. No longer. Now we choose to make the connection. Our new mission lies within. Visit maketheconnection.net to learn more.
16 is such a significant age. I promise to help protect my eldest daughter during this exciting time in her life. Teens are at an increased risk for meningococcal disease, a rare, potentially deadly bacterial infection. But half haven't received the CDC recommended second dose of the MenACWY vaccine at 16. I want to help change that. Take your shot against meningitis. Talk to your teen's doctor about the MenACWY vaccine and ask about MenB. Visit the16vaccine.org.
Happy to have Ethan on to talk some NBA, not whatever this is back here. Ignore this. This is exiled. Ignore that. But you put down some good notes here for our segment. And I think one of the biggest questions is for all the NBA fans out there, are the Phoenix Suns on the verge of collapsing? They were this team that was so close. They could taste the championship. They just could never get there. Epitome of like the Sabres in the NHL. So close yet so far, and are still looking for that first title. But are they falling down?
Well, it's been a couple of rainy
Probably
days.
just gonna name it like Vid 3 or something.
You know what they say, when it rains, it pours. And right now it is pouring.
Didn't Luke Combs say that one time?
Maybe.
Pretty sure. I think that's Luke Combs. I don't know.
Pretty common phrase.
Yeah.
However, it is pouring on the Phoenix Suns organization right now. DeAndre Ayton hasn't spoken to Monty Williams in 7 months. The last time they suited up and played an actual game of basketball, they got blown out by 80 at home, Game 7, because of Luka Doncic. This could be horrible. Chris Paul says he's learned nothing. Monty Williams isn't talking to the team. Devin Booker hasn't developed his defensive side of the ball in 4 years. This team, Monty Williams, is going to have to hop on Dreamweaver, going to have to hop on Finder. He's got to find some solutions here because it is getting ugly.
Well, he's running a Toybot Industries, down there in Phoenix. But here's what we got to say. Phoenix was so good. And all we heard going into last season was Monty Williams is this great coach. He's a player developer. CP3's coming back. We got Chris Paul. What's going on now? What changed? Was it Luka Doncic that broke these guys? Like, they literally lost by 60-plus points. And now everything is starting to collapse. I honestly think the Dallas Mavericks could be looked at as that team that broke what could have been the super team of the Phoenix Suns.
It reminds me of a couple years back when Paul George and the Russell Westbrook Oklahoma City Thunder team was the team to beat. This is going to go all the way. Super team, can't lose. And then Damian Lillard hits a 45-foot jumper from, half court and weighs him off the court, and then immediately blow it up. Now, I don't think it's going to be that drastic of a rebuild from the Phoenix Suns because, we got Jay Crowder out here demanding a trade. And it's bad when Jay Crowder is demanding a trade. But I do think we're going to have to see some changes, whether it's DeAndre Ayton getting chopped, whether it's Jay Crowder getting moved, whether it's just, letting it ride out, see what happens with the Monty Williams rotation. I do think this Suns team is still a 45-plus win team. I think they're still a playoff team. I think it's still a top 6 seed. It is getting dire out there in the desert.
But you got to wonder, why is this happening? They weren't that far off last year. They went to the finals the year before that. They were a playoff team in the bubble. Why is this happening now? Like, I believe in momentum. I believe in momentum during games and during seasons and during playoff rounds. But they were so close. They went to Game 7. They weren't that far off. They were in the championship the year before that. What all of a sudden changed between Monty Williams' communication with the team, Chris Paul's attitude? It can't just be that one playoff series against Mark, what's his name from Shark Tank? Mark Cuban's boys and the Dallas Mavericks. But you got to ask, for the Phoenix Suns fans, why is this happening?
DeAndre Ayton demanded a lot of money. The ownership didn't pay him. Jay Crowder wanted a bigger role. They didn't give it to him. Chris Paul has not been that guy for 16-plus seasons.
He's been ring chasing for a while.
He's been ring chasing for a while. He's never got it done. Devin Booker, offensive weapon, but can he distribute the ball? Can he play defense that is really needed once you get into the deep playoffs? I think the answer to all of those questions are no. So I think fundamentally the Phoenix Suns had to change their philosophy, to change their hubris. 50 wins in the regular season doesn't mean anything if you can't get it done in the playoffs.
Right.
So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens, and I think we've got to see what happens. Moving on to another team that seemingly has all the pieces, but just can't put it together, the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah.
One of the greatest scorers of all time, and Kevin Durant's on the team. An artist with the ball, Kyrie Irving's on the team. You're picking up Ben Simmons, moving back to his 4 position. You got Joe Harris. You have a lot of other great pieces there, and seemingly it's not cohesing.
And all we heard about the Brooklyn Nets was the KD effect. He goes to Golden State, and they continue their dynasty. Oklahoma City fans can say what they want. I definitely agree with them. I side with them on that he did them dirty. But that was a thing, the KD effect. He's going to Brooklyn now, and he just can't find it when he's out in the Eastern Conference. Now, they did have some good competition last year. Nobody saw the Chicago Bulls coming up to the top 3 and staying there consistently. And nobody saw
Boston Celtics putting it together.
We saw the Celtics maybe a little bit. We were thinking quarterfinal exit, maybe semifinal exit. But the Brooklyn Nets, I think on the money line for most Vegas casinos, were the favorite for the Eastern Conference runner-up in that, what would have been the runner-up in that final against the Golden State Warriors. Or who knows? They could have beaten the Golden State Warriors. I think everyone picked them to at least go to the finals in the East.
I know I did. And they just couldn't find a way to put it together. I think a lot of it has to come down to coaching. Lots of defensive liabilities on that team.
Preparation.
You know, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant have been known to be lockdown defenders, but you got Ben Simmons coming in. But who knows how much Ben Simmons is dedicated to this team. He didn't play in the playoffs. He didn't play at all last season. He's coming off a full season of rest in basketball. The last time we saw Ben Simmons in the playoffs, he was passing wide open layups under the basket.
Yep.
So who knows what he's bringing to the table. Steve Nash is still the quarterback. Is still the coach. My God, sorry, the football segment's getting into my mind. Steve Nash is still the coach. The Joe Tsai, Kevin Durant demanding a trade saga fizzled out. Durant got none of what he wanted. Nash still the coach. He didn't get traded. Kyrie Irving's still on the team.
The Eastern version of the Phoenix Suns, just lack of communication in the organization.
And ownership, I feel like, is coming at a premium these days. Robert Carver obviously has the whole, Robert Sarver, I think his name is.
Yep.
The whole thing with the Phoenix Suns. Maybe that's contributing to the turmoil. We forgot to mention that, as he was, obviously terrible human being. Luckily,
say the least.
Luckily, he's selling the team. But the Brooklyn Nets, if this season doesn't work, I think we definitely have to look at the overall effect Kevin Durant can have, the overall effect Kyrie Irving has on a team, because none of these guys, remember, have proven that I can do it on their own. Durant needed to go to the Warriors that won 73 games to win a ring.
Yep.
Kyrie Irving needed to be not carried, but needed to have one of the greatest players of all time on his team to win a ring. So I think this season, for a lot of players, is the prove it season. Kevin Durant's got to prove it.
Take individual accountability. Don't rely on others to do the job for you.
Exactly. And I feel like a lot of that is lacking. Kevin Durant on Twitter, obviously, he's got a lot to say.
Don't get me started with athletes on social media. Just stay off. You're making millions of dollars to play a sport. When you're not performing well, we don't care about what you're tweeting. Just saying. That goes for all sports, I think.
I agree. Another sort of bad news here, another team from the East that I thought was going to have a good season. Lonzo Ball for the Chicago Bulls. He was really, I think, a big underrated portion of that
extremely
first seed Bulls team. He still, according to sources and himself, can't run, can't jump. It's wowing even doctors, he says. And I feel like Lonzo Ball could be the key to the Bulls this season, and I don't think we're gonna see him. If we do, it won't be before the All-Star break.
No, I think it's honestly, you could be looking into this like a mini conspiracy, but it's just his lack of willingness to rehab an injury. I don't know if he has a disconnect with the organization, with the Chicago Bulls. This is a team that finished in the top 3 in the Eastern Conference last season. So I'm thinking, why would he ever? But that's just kind of like the fans' perspective. If you go on social media, they're like, oh, he's just quitting on the team, whatever. He's fine, he wants to trade. I don't know what to think about the Lonzo Ball injury. If he can't run, he can't play.
So I think
you need that offensive speed. You need that offensive attack from a guy like Lonzo Ball. If he's not going to give it to you, you can either do one of two things. Trade him and see what you can get in return. Make a gamble and trade him because you don't know what you're going to get back. You're not going to trade great players and trade for proven great players. You're trading for players that you hope are going to be good in the long run. Or you can do the other thing and just let him sit out for 3/4 of the season. I don't know what you do here.
Completely unprecedented in my case. I've never seen what was supposed to be a 4 to 6 week injury run on for the whole season and then into the next season. I think either the training staff and the medical staff over Chicago is horrible at their job, or there's something going on that we don't really know about. Another point guard at a disconnect with his team, coming off a really bad season, Russell Westbrook.
Bad season is an understatement.
Yeah, the things I've been seeing in the media, things I've been seeing on Twitter, has just been all negatives. He's saying things like, I don't need to feel wanted at work. I don't need everybody to like me. Pat Beverly and him obviously have a lot of history there. Pat Bev obviously accidentally tearing his ACL in a playoff game one season.
Yep.
Lots of history there. Apparently they've been besties over in Los Angeles. But if this Russell Westbrook is not a significant improvement of what he was last season, we definitely got to reconsider his placement within the lineup. Speaking of placements in the lineup, as we said, just a little bit more time, I want to talk about Christian Wood, who was a very solid player for the Rockets, borderline all-star, pulled in a lot of boards, got a lot of points.
On a really bad team.
Really terrible team. The Dallas Mavericks coach, Jason Kidd, has said in interviews that he will primarily be coming off the bench. Less than 1 hour later, I think it was 53 minutes after this was posted on Twitter, Christian Wood already tweets out LOL period. And you can just see that it's just no good.
No.
It's a bad match, and I think
it's a bad look.
It's a bad look, definitely,
on both sides too. I mean, to be able to be tweeting stuff like that out for him to see and reply to that,
and to reply to that, I definitely can see where Wood's coming from as his person starting in place of him is JaVale McGee,
right?
Who's by no means a better player than Christian Wood, but I do feel like situationally in the context of the lineup, I think JaVale McGee is the better starter. I think he runs the pick and roll better with Luka. I think he rebounds better than Christian Wood. I think he protects the post better than Christian Wood. I would actually prefer to see Christian Wood starting at the 4 rather than the 5 because I feel like he's a little undersized for a center in the modern NBA. I think he's a little slower. I think his post defense is not as strong. And I feel like if Christian Wood was less, I need to be the greatest player of all time, I need to be an all-star, I need to be a starter, I need to be the second fiddle to Luka, and more, where do I fit in this lineup? Mavericks could pay dividends.
And if you're not focused on who's that number one guy that you're going to build the team around in Houston, I think it's now Jalen Woods.
Jalen Green.
Jalen Green, yeah. You have all these players that come in and out of the organization, and the Rockets were, 19 wins last year?
19 and 61. Horrible. Just horrible.
And now you have a somewhat disconnect there. I'm thinking if you're Houston, just roll through it, sort of like what Orlando's doing in the Eastern Conference. Just roll through
it. Jr. coming in.
Stack up on those draft picks, and then things will start to turn around. But if you're the Lakers, I have to ask a lot of questions. Do you
draft picks in the
do you blow it up
foreseeable future?
And try to rebuild?
Do you trade LeBron?
How are you going to rebuild with no draft picks?
I know.
The Lakers are in a worse situation than the Rockets are right now. That's just my opinion. It might be a fact, too. It might be a fact.
That.
Yep. So I think with that said, thank you for coming on, Ethan.
Thank you for having me.
We're going to have our hockey nerd come on next with Brent. Talk some Sabres because, hey, the preseason's starting up right now. Season's starting in a little bit. So if you want to hear some hockey stuff, don't go away.
We've been down there. You gotta do the same. Post office, all you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. For Selective Service, it takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. For Selective Service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you gotta register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service. We've been down there. To the post office. You gotta do the same. Post office. All you do is sign. So don't get nervous. Sign your name. For Selective Service. It takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. For Selective Service.
Hey guys, if you're about to turn 18, you gotta register with Selective Service. It's simple. Just go down to the post office, fill out a card, and turn it in. That's all there is to it. There's no draft now. You're just adding your name to Selective Service's list in case there's a national emergency.
So if you're 18 now, Selective Service, you gotta get down to the post office.
Register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law.
Takes no time. Just sign on the line at the post office. Selective Service.
Hey, everybody, guess what? The Sabres are 2-0 in the preseason.
Wait. My mic is on. Just had to turn it on real quick. That's all it was.
You want to talk about turning things on? The Sabres turned
the
up the heat,
on.
and they turned the lights on. They're 2-0 in the preseason. How about that win over the Caps on Sunday?
I
and
mean,
a big 2-1 win over the Flyers tonight.
Yeah, tonight, absolute huge win from the boys. Preseason, starting 2-0. I mean, Trev, we've been talking about it. I mean, we've been talking about the playoffs. Maybe not this year. Maybe next
prospects.
year. But the prospects and the Capitals game, we looked unbelievable. I mean, all the rookies, the plays we were making, all the behind-the-back passes in front. Dylan Cousins is an absolute dog. He can actually have my children.
They got that X-ray, and he's got the dog in him.
Yeah, like they did it for Allen once.
And like they did it for Matt Ian.
Yeah.
In week 3 of the NFL season.
Now we need it for Cousins. So, I mean, that game was actually unbelievable to watch, not going to lie, just because I did not know that our rookies could go off like that.
Can I also say death, taxes, and Connor Sherry scoring against his former teams?
I mean, come on.
Like,
we
that
kind
is
of
the biggest guarantee.
Sherry to...
If they had preseason NHL on like the Vegas line, and I saw we were facing against Connor Sherry, I'm like, okay, put that on the money line, +1 goal for Connor Sherry, because it's always going to happen. He never scores against any other teams, but against the Penguins, he's scoring hat tricks. Against the Sabres, he's scoring a couple goals.
Mm-hmm.
He looked good, but the Sabres just a little bit better. And how about the unsung hero, Mr. Speedster himself, Vinny Hinostroza with the overtime goal?
I mean, that was a great play. In overtime, the Caps, they kind of got a little combobulated right in the middle of the zone. And I forgot who passed it to Hinostroza, but whoever it was, they literally just gave him so much space. I don't know if they thought he was just going to drop it back behind him to the guy that was behind him, but I don't know. He had so much space, just carried it out. Hinostroza's just sitting there in front with no defender on him. Easy pass, easy tap in.
I couldn't tell if our offense was just so good, or if Mizan was in the net for the Capitals, or Samchak or Delpost, one of those players from NHL 2K7. I don't even remember.
I think it might have been Delpost.
It could have been Delpost, but there's a reason why he's only a prospect, because everything was going in the back of the net for the Sabres, which is a good thing for us, because all we want to see is winning. And I think it's kind of sad.
I mean, in the beginning of the game, he was making some big saves. He made a couple big backdoor saves, but then later on in the game, he started just. He became Delpost.
Yeah, he became Samchak.
Yeah,
in a
he
way.
was just all of them in one. he thought he was playing out in the abandoned factories, but realistically, he was out in the big Washington capital city with the lights on. But apparently, he forgot that.
Yeah, the nation's capital.
The nation's
Washington,
capital.
D.C.
Come on.
But yeah, I think honestly, when you're looking at the way Washington plays, is it kind of sad that, like, I'm really happy that we won 2 preseason games in a row. If you look at the way the Flyers played and the Capitals played, they were good.
Did you just ask me if
but
I
the
would
Sabres,
be sad that we're 2-0?
The Sabres were a lot better, but it's the preseason, though.
It is the preseason. But
it might be just because we just want wins so bad.
We are playing UPL.
UPL's nasty right now.
UPL is being a beast
He's a
right now.
freak.
Yeah.
UPL is a freak. And if he can stay healthy, which is the only thing of concern that I have for him, is ability to stay healthy, this team could go a long way.
Dude, is Buffalo just in a curse? What's going on with the injuries?
No,
Sabres players are always getting hurt. All the whole Bills team's hurt right now. Like, what has happened?
The Bandits friggin' suck in the NLL finals. Like,
it's just Buffalo. What do you want from us? Like,
we have the UB Bulls. I don't know how they're doing, but I don't think they're in the top 25 in the nation. So
I don't know if they're ranked.
I think they're unranked. Bring back the Buffalo Blizzard. No, they'd still get hurt.
Yeah, probably.
They would still get hurt. And we'd probably have Delpo start for us in that. So
yeah.
Nah, don't bring back the Blizzard unless you really want to. But you know what? When I'm looking at this box score of the Flyers game, remember in like July and August when there were rumors that James Van Riemsdyk was coming to the Sabres?
Yeah.
I'm so glad that never happened. Like, he got an assist tonight, but this dude is like 36 years old. He's not good. And I was like, if Kevin Adams signs this guy to a contract, I want everyone to sell their
If
season
we would have
tickets.
signed him like 10 years ago when he was in his prime, yeah, sure.
When he would do the windmill move in the shootout?
Yeah.
I would definitely sign him to a
100%.
contract.
Right now?
Like, I don't want a skeleton on the team.
Yeah.
Like what is this, 2K7?
Literally, like, what is even going on?
Jack Quinn.
Looking at this box score, though, like, Tucky played?
Yeah, we're seeing some of the starters get some
Now
playing
we're seeing
time.
some of the starters. Middlestat, Gergensen, OP, okay.
Brandon Biro, who is this?
I don't know, but he's got two
goals. He turned it on.
Like, oh my God, who is this guy?
They
Brandon?
won 2-1. He scored both goals.
And he had, that's 3 shots on goal.
3 shots on goal.
3 shots on goal and 2 goals?
He went 66%.
Come on.
That's fast math right there, by the way.
I wouldn't even be able to do that.
Nope, but
way too fast.
well, you just got to pull it up on Dreamweaver, and maybe you can.
Well, I'm too lost in the abandoned factory, so I can't.
Alex Tuck.
Darlene.
Darlene got some playing time. Zemgus Girgensons, Casey Middlestat, Kyle
Okapos.
Oposo. How about Larry Pilot getting some playing time again? I can't wait to see him back. Samuelson, Isaac Rosen, wearing Tyler Ennis' old number 63, getting some playing time.
Look at that. Craigie
nice.
Ans.
Jeff Skinner, 2
That's
shots
my
on goal.
41-year-old goalie.
My geriatric goalie, Craig Anderson. Let's go.
He is 41, and he wears number 41. Come on, he's
How
a
about Malcolm
legend.
Subban, the best singer on the team. Didn't get the start, which I really think he will in the preseason one of these games. Best singer on the team. I think as far as U.S. national anthems go, he's like Fergie's
He
here.
is like
he's up
way,
here.
yeah. He's not
way
even
up here.
He's not even on the realm. He broke the realm.
I mean,
but
well,
he is-
Dougie Allen's up here, and Malcolm's
Dougie.
like right here.
No one ever is gonna.
And then
beat
Fergie's
Doug.
down here.
Yeah, no, Fergie. I don't even know if Fergie's on the scale anymore.
No. How about this though, Jack Quinn? Can he stay healthy? If he stays healthy,
here's what I'm thinking.
That could be huge for
when
our
the season
playoff
starts.
run.
I'm saying, Quinn, get Rochester out of your mind, straight to the Sabres.
Same with JJ Paterka. Get Rochester off your mind too. You're in the 716. You've moved on from the 585. Get that out of your head.
Get it out now.
And how about, what did you think about Kevin Adams getting extended? I think it's kind of a risky move because 31st in the league his first season, 25th his second season in the league as a general manager. He's slowly making progressions from 31. I hope you go up from there to 25. But do you really think he deserved a multi-year extension? I think it might be too early to tell. But
yeah,
I'm just thinking, what has he
early,
done other than the Eichel trade to earn that extension?
I mean, he has picked up some like key players for us. But I mean, in the long run, yeah. I mean, here's the thing: if you're looking at all of what we've done with Kevin Adams being our GM, realistically, Buffalo would probably be like, probably wasn't smart. But how last season changed around, I don't know if Buffalo even realizes how like huge that was for the Sabres. But like, I mean, that whole turnaround and then us actually finishing. We did finish
75
positive,
points,
right? Did we
I
finish
think.
Positive?
We
Or
were
really
close.
close.
We were very close
really
to it.
close,
We were right
yeah.
around 500, maybe just
right
below.
around. So, I mean, it is too early to tell, but at the same time, I think with the young bucks that we got, I think we'll be making some stuff happen. Depending on how this year goes, then we can get into some
They need to finish
controversies,
above
but
20th in the league to give me at least a little bit of hope. They got to finish above 20th.
above
Just
20,
be on the
and
outside.
they have to finish top 5 in the division.
Yes. Go top 5 in the division. You have a tough division, too. Ottawa's starting to turn things around. Boston's usually a contender. Tampa Bay is not slowing down.
And
I don't think.
anytime we play guys that used to be on our team, they always go off against
Connor
us.
Sherry.
Sherry. Senators have Ennis.
Yep.
So, I mean...
Yeah, number 6306, Tyler Ennis.
Shout out 2K7.
Yeah, shout out announcer. But I don't even know what to think. I mean, you signed Tage Thompson. You broke the bank for Tage Thompson.
Okay, yeah, that is a power move. Tage Thompson
He's been great in the draft, I think. Well, I don't know. Too early to tell, but he drafted Isaac Rosen, drafted Owen Power, took Matthew Savoy at 7th overall. I think he's making some good picks. Obviously made the Sam Reinhart trade, which could end up working in our favor with Devin Levi as the key part of that trade. We'll have to see how that turns out, but I think I think he just pulled the trigger too early on that extension. Maybe see how this year goes and then decide whether or not you wanted to extend him. I think they just did it just a little bit too early.
How long did they extend him? Because I honestly missed that.
All they said was multi-year. I think it's within 3,
Multi-year.
4, or 5 seasons, pretty sure. But Terry
Well, I'm
Bagula
saying
says that he
within the
brings a
next-
style of winning, which I'm like, if 24th place is winning to you, then yeah, give him an extension.
Well, him and our coach, they both kind of have that winning mentality. The only problem is we haven't seen them above that spot. So it's really hard to tell. Like,
I mean, unless they're facing against Ukraine.
Unless they're facing
in
Ukraine in Vancouver with the lights on and the arena clean and somebody leaving their actual car lights on outside. That's
yeah,
the only,
and if you look
that'd
up
be
on the
only
HD
problem.
video screen, it's your birthday, apparently.
It's somebody's birthday.
Somebody's
today.
birthday. Well, it's always somebody's
Happy birthday.
Happy
Whoever is
birthday,
that-
somebody. It's always somebody's birthday.
Always. I don't know
Whoever's
who you
born
are.
on
Maybe it's
September
Jimmy.
27th. Huh?
Maybe it's Jimmy.
Maybe it's Eichel. Maybe it's Jackie.
No, Jack Eichel's too
It's our
busy
boy.
getting down in Vegas. I'm actually wearing a Vegas hoodie right now. Shocker, isn't it?
And the Golden Knights, though, I'll tell you that. But
yeah, same. But you know what? It's whatever. This year, I think next week when we come on, this season will be pretty, what? It would be like a game left maybe for preseason?
Yeah, we got like three games left, I think.
So within
but
the next...
season starts October 13th, home opener against the Ottawa Senators. If you have tickets, don't sell them, please, because we need the fans in the stands. Maybe that can turn something around for the
I think what they need is us to go.
We need us in the suites with Dr. Min.
Dude,
getting Liddy in the suites.
Get
That's
some
what we
wings,
need.
get some drinks, and then yell some obnoxious things that I can't say on camera.
Obscenities. Yep.
And yes.
And not get thrown out of the arena. And obviously, when we're in the suites, we always kept the arena clean.
Always. And then when we leave, it's W.
And the lights will be shut out because the Sabres will be the last one standing to shut them off.
Exactly.
So I think with that said, go Sabres. We're 2-0 in the preseason.
Go Sabres. 2-0 in preseason. Come on.
Brent, thanks for coming on. It's always a pleasure. And we'll see you same time, same place next week, right here at Hendricks Hall for Sports Hour.
And if you're not watching next week, you smell like cheese.
Yep, and you're also a non-Sabres fan.
That too.
So with that said,
and
we'll
Colts.
see you next week. There's not a lot of those either, but go Colts, go Sabres. We'll see you next week.
Go Bills.
Peace.